Hi, I miss you.
Hold on. Miss you too. Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes. How have you been?
Uh,
Oh, okay, I know.
okay.
Not
I
very.
don't know. I mean, yeah, it's been it's been strange last month, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I mean, loss is kind of a natural part of life. But that's yeah, so yeah.
Okay, well, hi, I miss you so much. And
Can you hear me okay?
yes.
Okay, okay.
So, first of all, Amir, I want to say I love you very much. For anyone who's listening, Amir and I met in a very unique way where I was buying a Popol Vuh record, I think, or some rock record, and then we met, and you became someone that's very close to my heart since. And your music has is so incredible to me, and it's actually very healing to me, especially in these difficult times. Sometimes, like when I come home or something, and it's difficult to be alone, your music, it's like a spaceship where it allows me to go inside and be happy inside and be happy to be in myself. And so this is the first thing I want to give to the listeners of this show is I know that they will feel the same way through your music, this healing effect of your expression. And I have another also gift that I want to give, which is the fact that your music is very visual to me, and it has very powerful impact on allowing me to almost practice my imagination. So almost every night before bed, I turn the lights off, I press play, and I watch your music. And some people call this, I guess, astral traveling, but I don't think I go to space. And it's not necessarily like in the space. I think it's just really imagination. Like I think music has power to unleash imagination. So sometimes like I'll sit and I'll, yeah, it is the space. And sometimes I'll choose things like a beach or a star. Sometimes I'll even choose, like I'll let through your music to see random feelings. Like sometimes I'll say, now I want to see love, like specific love I have for someone, and I say, oh, I want to see this love, and I start to see it. And so I don't know, I think that y- yeah, so sometimes I give like visual visions to feelings to everything through the power of music somehow. And yeah, I think your music is very powerful in that sense, music in general, but especially yours. So this has inspired me to start a series on imagination, where I want to encourage listeners to do that, to sit and watch music, and especially to start with your music, for the cosmic transcendental power of imagination. And I think through imagination, unleashing infinity of our consciousness. And doing that is not only very beautiful as an experience, but it's also very healing, to watch not only with our eyes this music, but also with our hearts, with our innermost. And so, yeah, so first of all, thank you for the power of your music that has brought to my life.
Oh, thank you for listening, and
My,
thank you for your support and your friendship
oh,
through these years.
yeah, you are such a beautiful human being, just as your music. And
Oh, thank you. You as well.
uh, so, my first question is, I told you for me, obviously, your music is very visual, but for you, do you see your music as something to listen to, or do you also think it's something to watch?
um, hmm, that's it's difficult to say. I think it kind of in a very abstract way, maybe it kind of it's not just one thing. I feel like it maybe sort of encapsulates a whole, like the visual, the listening, the emotional. I think it kind of at least for me, I think when when I'm maybe trying to you know, get in the creative zone, or I am in the creative zone, it kind of, um, I think it kind of, yeah, it
There's no limit.
becomes something. Yeah, there's no limit. It becomes something that kind of transcends. I mean, obviously, it's listening. A big part of it's listening, because that's how it kind of gets created and whatnot. But I think, yeah, it's difficult for me to say too about my own music, because um, I have trouble listening to like my own music,
Oh
so
yeah.
I can't really, um, like I can't really listen to it in a way. I think,
But say
um,
if you hear like Brian Eno or
yeah, yeah. I think even if I hear some of like my favorite music, it's I think it kind of it it covers what I kind of just mentioned. It kind of it encapsulates a whole bunch of things at once. Like I feel like it could lead me to a visual aspect, or it could just be more of like, you know, if I'm listening to something, I could just, it could be like a deep listening exercise, or you know what I mean. I think it all kind of depends on
yeah.
wherever I am at that moment, my mindset, or uh, uh, whatnot. So I think the visual thing is interesting, because I feel there's um, I don't know. I don't know if I make a conscious effort of this, but I feel like there is maybe some sort of energy that gets um, that gets put through the music, that can be um, can be sort of internalized as a visual aspect. I know other people have mentions to me, and I don't. It's hard for me to say, you know, because I think a lot of the time with, you know, if I make music or whatnot, it's not. I sometimes don't know what's happening. Like it just kind of happens. So I don't make like a conscious effort to be like, oh,
So you
I'm
get lost
gonna.
in the process, obviously, in the moment.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, yeah. So, um,
But I, for example, I see the cosmos through your music. Do you not see stars and cosmos and
um, again, I think it's difficult because I have trouble listening to it, but
yeah.
I can understand where you're coming from for sure. I think if um, if one allows himself to feel and see certain things um, through this music, then yeah, I could definitely see that.
I want to show you. So someone that I've been seeing, and I made him. We sat and we often sit and trip and listen and watch your music. And after this, he painted this. I thought to
Wow.
incorporate it to the artwork of the episode, because yeah, that's exactly what I feel we do when we turn the lights off and we listen to your music.
Oh, okay, that's great. Yeah, that's a nice piece of art.
Another thing that I see, I don't know also if you have any reference to that, is like I also feel that your music could be uh, seen as, like, say, something like background. Maybe some people would think that it's like a very fragile bubble, but if people allow themselves to go inside, they will see vast, infinite, boundless universes. And I also think you're kind of this way too. You're very like sensitive and beautiful and fragile in that way, but and also wondrous inside. But back to the music, do you also feel this way? Like your music, that's why I don't consider it like ambient even, or anything like this, because I think
Mm.
once you step inside, it's infinite.
Yeah, I I can see that. One thing I've kind of been fascinated by over the last like since I've been making music is um, all the different reactions I get from people who listen. So and it's so varied, like and some of it is so different than what I would think about the music. So I'll hear things like people say, "Oh, well, it's so calm and it's just so gentle and this and that," and then there's some people will tell me that it's like, you know, it's like the most intense thing they've heard in a while or
But
something.
it is
And
both. That's why.
yeah, that's the thing. And just those two are so extreme, like they're at extreme ends in a way. So I find that kind of fascinating, how that works, and different people's reactions to it. But no, I think you're correct. I think um, there's 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 a certain density there, that I think is, um, I don't know. Yeah, it can allow for some really deep and powerful, maybe experiences for the listener. But yeah, I guess it kind of depends on, um, you know how you approach it as a listener. But yeah, there's definitely, because it's funny because there's some parts of it which, um, someone might say, "Oh, this piece is so calm and it's so this or that," and then I think, "Oh, really? Like, I thought that one was like the really sort of intense one, or the really like
Yeah, I think a lot
layered
of
and."
them are intense. In fact, I recorded a mix with your stuff, and I played one that I really think is calm in the middle, just to break and for people to realize, like, oh, where was I? Because it's like, and then, so I
Yeah.
can't remember the names, but I think you'll probably recognize when I play it. Um,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, so I was lucky enough, in the way that I met you, but not everyone has like the ability to, I think, or the I think it would come with maybe more practice for people to hear the power that's within those little fragile sounds, and naturally that would, like, obviously not be so pop music, or and I guess that could make it maybe more financially difficult, or whatever, to continue to remain, to be. Of course, I know you, and I know you would never change. But do you ever feel like you want to give up or something like this? And I hope never. But does it ever become
Oh,
discouraging?
um, yeah. I mean, all the time. I think this, the I think the self doubt is a big part of. I mean, not just what I do, but I think a lot of musicians and friends and people I know who I talk to, I think self doubt is, and especially with the way that, um, just the music world has been going lately and whatnot, it sometimes becomes really difficult to sort of, um, navigate through um, and to figure out certain things.
And play the
As
games, which you certainly don't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I I don't. It's difficult. I think. I mean, I could. The game too is like, you mentioned the game, but it's like even the game. I feel like, uh, he the goalposts keep moving. It's not even like it's become, like, you can't just wake up one day and say, okay, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and then I'll be playing the game and I'll get more success. It doesn't work that way. I think it's it, some people have a much bigger advantage than others in terms of that, and I think we can go into deep and vast discussions about individualism and neoliberalism and capitalism and how that all affects, um, the underground music world or the music world in general, but that's probably maybe for another day. But yeah, it is difficult sometimes. Um, I think I think I think what I've learned is that you shouldn't force anything. Um, and I think that, over the last like almost 10 years, you know, that's why sometimes there's been gaps between releases, like a few years, because I just couldn't do something or I didn't have it in me, and then suddenly something will happen, and then I'll get a spark and I'll make some more music. So um, yeah, it's difficult sometimes, and I think too the climate right now is that uh, the way that things are with streaming, and um, I think there's a lack of underground infrastructure when it comes to underground music. Like a lot of interesting stores and distributors and all sorts of things have closed down, and it's become more of a monolithic thing, with streaming and Bandcamp and everything. I mean, Bandcamp is good. I'm not knocking it or anything, but um, it seems like the infrastructure has kind of changed in a way.
I think
And
Spotify and stuff like that is.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and I think it's kind of made things more difficult for someone maybe like me who's not in a rush to do things, because now I think the trend is more like, you have to produce more and more and more all the time, put something up on Bandcamp like, once every 2 months, and you have to constantly try to stay in people's radars and try to stay in the limelight. And because people just, there's so much music out there, and the attention spans have shrunk, and it's become this really accelerated and kind of hideous sort of world in a way, especially for someone who doesn't, I'm in a rush. I don't want to just put out an album every 2 months. I mean, it'd probably be terrible. So, yeah, it can get a bit discouraging sometimes, but that's just life. You have to plow through it all.
I know
So,
I said I didn't want to ask, but now I'm just more interested. But okay, what I won't. I promise many. But no, I think because you are an amazing person, so maybe I'll just ask you more. And okay, first of all, I want to say I hope you never get discouraged, because really your music is incredible, and I'm sure the people who will listen today. The other day, my friend Tamara, she was feeling down, and I said, uh, I have a gift for you, and she felt so much better. And I'm sure that I hope that people who will listen will feel this way. I know they will. But another thing, what is it like to be in the creative flow when you are inside of it?
that's actually a really good question, because sometimes I don't even know, to be honest. Um, and kind of it kind of goes back to maybe your questions earlier of um, about imagination and visuals and whatnot. I think in a way it's like um, a lot of times the best, maybe some of the more things I'm proud of making or I'm happier with, that ends up on the albums or whatever, is I don't know how they kind of get created sometimes, because I don't generally, if I sit down with like my equipment or gear, I'm like, okay, with a plan to make something, it generally doesn't work that way. So it kind of just happens, like when I said earlier, it just happens. And oftentimes I don't, I mean, it's a very sort of like maybe I'll record a bunch of things, and then I won't think of anything of it. And then the next day I'll listen to it. I'm like, oh wow, you know, how did this happen? Like sometimes you don't know where these things come from. Um, and and I mean, I've heard other musicians say this too, and it maybe is a bit of a romantic notion that, you know, we just, these creations and these songs or this music is already out there. I didn't create it. I'm just sort of channeling it in a way. Like I'm just the vessel to bring it
Medium.
into yeah. And it's almost like a lot of the pieces have already been recorded or they've already been composed, and I'm just sort of gathering them from the cosmos and
Yeah.
bringing them into this. So, I mean, you know, I know others have mentioned this as well, and I think it
I,
kind of lends to this idea that sometimes I don't know what is happening. You
I
just, yeah,
Yeah, I was talking to Mike Banks. I recorded, Mac from Underground Resistance, and he said, like, so Underground Resistance, he's always had a strong motto to not show his face, to not this and that, and he, it was very rare that he agreed to do a discussion with me, and I feel very honored. But he said the reason he doesn't is because the musician is just a medium. He's like, it's like you can't take credit for any of that. He's like, I didn't create it, it just came. And he's like,
mm,
you were just there at the right place at the right time, and you're the messenger. And Coil, I also said that in the discussion, I said,
mm,
Coil, they say that it's like the search for extraterrestrial aliens. You have to keep all your channels open, and then you
yeah,
get one signal.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I kind of see a lot of it. Especially maybe the stuff that is I might consider to be the um, better material or whatnot. It just and sometimes it's so quick, like literally, um, it'll just like and like it'll just flow out, you know, like it's and that's kind of what makes me think, oh, this has already been someone, you know, there's something else happening here. There's something else working here. It's not just me. Like it just kind of happens. So yeah, I think um
And Sun Ra says, expresses that
yeah,
often too.
yeah. So it can be quite it can be quite powerful and exhilarating because sometimes you're almost not aware that it could be happening. I feel like when it happens really well, you're not aware of it until afterwards. But once you realize what's happened, I feel like once you kind of make some or uh, bring something out into this world that you're really happy with, then it actually becomes quite of a it's quite a rush. Like it's quite a nice feeling because for probably a variety of reasons, but
But
it's probably the best feeling. I mean, that's sort of as a
maybe
musician
that's where
or
the compulsion and obsession comes from that keeps you in it.
yeah. Well, I mean, it keeps you going
Yeah.
because when you stumble across something like that, it it's it's just so rewarding in not just in an artistic sense, but also more of from like you could say in like a I don't know a spiritual sense or something of something that just occurred that that you maybe aren't fully aware of at the time, which and it creates this sort of magical thing. So
Yeah, also Rodelius, he also said that. And another idea, like, I've been thinking a lot because I used to be hyper rational, and I think through art, I that kind of broke. But in a way, it's like I feel like one still has to go through like logic and be able to question, and then break that. Not just like go from like ignorance to mysticism or heaven and hell or
yeah,
whatever, but to
yeah,
go through like questioning and stuff. But also, it is essential to break that. And really, I think that the most powerful way to break that is through art. Like art has incredible ability to make us feel like that things are transcendental and beyond us, and that there's some kind of maybe universal consciousness or something. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I uh, yeah, it's definitely a fascinating topic when it comes and it took me a while to realize sometimes because um, y- it's generally um, we sometimes we kind of get told and whatnot that like the idea of again it's like individualism or hard work or whatnot, like the harder you work at something, then which is true. I'm not disputing that, but I think there's other. What I'm trying to say is there's sometimes other forces at play.
For sure, yeah. Like I
So
mean,
yeah,
a lot of musicians, the beginning of their years were some of the best, too.
yeah, yeah. So I, it's fascinating to wonder what we tap into, and even musicians who start out, what they manage to tap into at the beginning, which maybe, I don't know, they maybe don't later on, some of them, who knows, or something maybe gets changed, life just happens, I don't know,
I
but
think when we learn, like even for me, when I was DJing, when I started to really learn DJing, I became like not so free. And then I had to unlearn. I said, I want to just play like I used to play
yeah,
when I didn't know how to mix. And I want to just, smash things together and, but figure out how to
yeah,
do it well. Um, yeah. And the one last thing is like, and that like consciousness, I think that also through art, I mean, I would have never invited someone, because when you said you lived in Vancouver and I was buying the record, I invited you over for dinner and I didn't even know you, right? But
mm,
knowing that you were that we had this connection through this record or whatever, that we are like in a way a soul family. And of
mm,
course we remain this way, and even stronger so. But this consciousness, like sometimes it takes 3 seconds to meet someone to know that they've also tapped into that. And sometimes you can be around someone for 10 years and you'll never tap into that with them. And so there's this Martin Rev, when I asked him, what's your advice for people struggling to persist? And he said, like, the word is persist. And he's like, you might feel alone. You pay the price for the isolation. Like, you're going to pay the price for the isolation because this lifestyle comes with isolation. But remember, you're not alone. And we are a soul family.
yes, that's lovely, actually. Yeah,
So
it's
thank
very
you
true. Oh,
for being part of that family of mine.
oh, I'm thank you for, yeah, likewise. It's been um it's been very nice being a
Yeah.
part of that. So thanks.
Okay. I love you, and I like sometimes I used to put my shows on radio and stuff, but then it needs scheduling and stuff. I don't want to do that. I just want to finish it today because the mix is ready, everything's ready, and it's end
Yeah.
of the year and people need healing. So I'm just gonna put it up tomorrow.
Oh, okay, sure. That
Oh,
sounds great. Yeah.
okay. So nice
Okay.
to
Love
talk
you
to you.
too. Thank you so
Love
much.
you so
Yeah.
much, and
Miss you.
keep up. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Come to Montreal. I know you have a
Hopefully, yeah.
huge fan here, Stefan.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, before things went kind of crazy, obviously with the world, there were sort of plans, but hopefully, in the future when things go back to sort of normal or whatnot, we'll
Soon the
figure
vaccines
something
are
out.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, love you.
Okay, love you too.
Good
Okay,
night.
take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so this was my discussion with Secret Pyramid. Um, I want to say that this year has been very tough. Two waves of a pandemic, explosion, Lebanon. For myself, also, we were subject to a cyber attack at work. Imagine running healthcare and other care without access to internet, without access to data. It was, it's been a crazy year. But last week, um, was winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, and to me also symbolically that the darkest days are behind us, brighter days lay ahead. It coincided with the Great Conjunction, Saturn and Jupiter together, close together. And so I truly believe that we're entering a new beginning. And that is why I want to gift this, not episode, but I want to gift the art of Secret Pyramid in its ability to transcend beyond the sense of hearing and unleashing everything else, especially imagination, which also unleashes consciousness. So it's this music can take you to beautiful places, but also is very healing. My favorite time to listen to his music is just before bed when I'm almost about to fall asleep, but not yet, and I play it oof, I travel so far. But no matter what you're doing now, listen, and also listen again later. And in my case, I'll be listening later and later and late, and every almost every day. Um, Enjoy and let the music take you off. Enjoy the takeoff. Happy new beginning. Much love.